All right, welcome back, everybody. So Kamala, she had a town hall with CNN. So let's talk about this. The other night, she has a town hall. CNN. Anderson Cooper. He's the host, I guess, if that's what you want to call it. Um, it was it was crap. It was the same with Kamala. She attacked Trump. She blamed other people. She pivoted off of the questions that she was asked. Let's get into it. I mean, we'll just go ahead and get straight into it. The first one we're going to cover here is this is about fracking and how she was talking about she was never against fracking and that she promises as president she will not ban fracking. So you know, we'll just you know what we won't waste no time. Hold on here. Let me get this straight. I got it. My stuff's all messed. Hold on. So we won't. We'll just get straight into this here. This is the fracking question. Uh, well, this is more of a question. She was flip flopping. He asked about her flip flopping on all of her positions, and he wasn't sure what she was all about. So we'll check this out.
Can you talk a little bit about how your positions have shifted and why?
Sure, and thank you. So first of all, on fracking, I've been very clear. We kind of dispensed with this in 2020. I am not going to ban fracking. I did not as vice president. In fact, as vice president, I cast the tie-breaking vote that now has opened up more fracking leases. My value on the issue of what we need to do to invest in a clean energy economy and a clean energy future has not changed. But frankly, I now have the experience and perspective of having been vice president for almost 4 years. I've traveled the country. I know that we can invest in a clean energy economy and still not ban fracking and still work toward what we need to do to create more jobs and create U.S. based jobs in a way that will be globally competitive. On the issue of law and order.
This from the same woman. Look, same woman who back in when she was running for president in 2019 for the 2020 election, who didn't get a single primary vote, who dropped out before the first voting ever took place. This woman who said this.
There's no question I'm in favor of banning fracking. So, yes, and starting with what we can do on day one around public lands, right? And then there has to be legislation. But yes, and this is something I've taken on in California. I have a history of working on this issue. And to your point,
History.
We have to just acknowledge that the residual impact of fracking is enormous in terms of the impact on the health and safety of communities. Yeah. So
Is it
thank you.
now?
So would you ban offshore drilling?
Yes. And
Yep.
I've, again, worked on that.
Yeah. So, this same woman who says that her policies have never changed. Okay. Anyway, there's that. And I lose my microphone. Anyway.
In order, as you mentioned, I think there's just a whole lot of misinformation, to be honest with you. I have personally prosecuted very serious crime. It's how I started my career. I spent most of my career as a prosecutor, not in Washington, D.C. And as my first priority had and remains as a first priority to me, the safety of the American people. So that has not changed. And sadly, I think that there's a bit of misinformation, if not more than a bit. But I'm glad that you raised the subject so that I can address it. But
look, this is the same woman who, during the 2020 Summer of Love, when there was rioting and looting and, all kinds of assaults and everything else happening, buildings being burned down, and the Summer of Love, as they call it. This same woman who was advocating for people who should not stop rioting, and she said she said we will not stop and we should not stop. And the same person who was backing, a funding to bail out rioters during the 2020 riots. This is the same person who says that she's tough on crime. So we can't have our cookies and eat the cake. I don't understand what she's saying. Anyway, we'll move on to the next one because, I mean, this whole thing was just a joke. Everything she
President Joe
said,
Biden has repeatedly called on
everything
Congress
that
to
she
enact
said
a
that
minimum
was
tax rate of 25%.
just a lie or just not incorrect. And nobody called her. Now I'll say Anderson. He did. We'll get to that in a little bit. But right now we'll take a look at the taxes question here.
About rich people paying their fair share. Can you be more specific? Income taxes are already on a graduated scale, where the more you make, the higher percentage you pay in taxes. So the rich are paying a disproportionate amount in taxes as it is. Over 40% of
That's true.
Americans don't pay any income taxes. Also, the really high earners may move their money offshore if there are disincentives in the US. This could impact the economy. I would like to
Also
hear
true.
more nuts and bolts about your economic plans.
Sure. Thank you, Pam. So first of all, it is the case in the United States of America that billionaires on average pay less taxes as a percentage
Yeah.
than teachers and firefighters and
Yeah.
nurses.
I'm talking
And
about
that-
hard workers like
That's
pound the street,
that's
have some
incorrect.
success.
Yes, no, I
Statistically
understand, but I want to
incorrect.
just let's
Not
set
the really high.
let's set the scene, right?
Yeah.
So
Look how mad
when I
she's
say
getting mad that this woman
the
is pushing back
richest
on her.
among us need to pay their fair share.
Okay.
I am referencing that, and I need to reference that because sadly, Donald Trump, when he was president,
What does that
gave
mean?
tax cuts to the richest, to billionaires
Oh,
and
it's a
big
talking
corporations,
point. Get
which
over it.
added trillions of dollars to our deficit.
No, I didn't.
So that sadly needs to be said in a way that should be obvious to your point, but is not given what he did.
Let me ask a serious question here, and this is something that I've thought about a few times now. Think about this, okay? So the only billionaire, like big wig, like person who makes just a crap ton of money, okay? Elon Musk. He's the one that's he's backing President Trump. What about all the other billionaires? Who are they backing? Kamala Harris. Think about this for just a second now. If the richest people in America, if her talking point is correct and she wants to tax the billionaires to make them pay their fair share, why would all of them be backing her? If she's going to tax them more money and take more money from them, why would they back her? Ask yourself that question, because it's something that I've thought about a few times now. The only one that's backing Donald Trump is Elon Musk. Why are all the rest of the billionaires backing Kamala if she's going to make them pay their fair share? It's a talking point that these people have had since long before I even can remember. They've always talked about the billionaires and millionaires paying their fair share in taxes. Every single election that comes around, it's a talking point. If it's that big of a deal, why haven't they done it before now? Why do they keep bringing it up every single election? We're going to make the billionaires and millionaires pay their fair share in taxes. What? Okay, you've been in office for the last 4 years. You couldn't have done it then. You couldn't have done it back when Obama said it in his first time running. He couldn't have done it. Clinton said it back when he was running. What happened to it then? It's always been a talking point since as long as I can remember for, and it's never happened. Because what does she always say about President Trump and the border? Because he'd rather run on a problem than solve a problem. It's the same thing with the crap that she brings up with the billionaires paying their fair share. It's the same thing. Think about it. Anyway.
Now, in terms of what we need to do to bring down taxes, I have pledged and have a plan for a middle-class tax cut that would affect 100 million Americans, including, for example, what we will do around small businesses. in terms of
Ugh.
tax deductions, in terms of what small businesses are now being mired in terms of a bureaucracy around they have to fill out and do their taxes in a way that actually holds them back. Part of my plan includes extending a middle class tax cut that would include a $6,000 tax cut, essentially a child tax credit for parents and young parents in particular.
President Trump and J.D. Vance have already thrown this out, and it was a talking point of theirs before it became a talking point of Harris's. I think it was a couple weeks after that they had initially announced it. She came out and said it a couple weeks later, because theirs was $5,000. She raised the ante to $6,000. But she just talks about it a lot more than what they do, because she thinks it's a winning issue for her. And then she wants to give you $6,000 for children, but then also says that you can kill them before they're born. So there's that. Anyway, I want to show you all this. Look at this real quick here. This is from Verify. Now this is just one of the ones that I saw. Okay, so I just wanted to show you this. Billionaires do not pay an average of 8.2 in federal taxes, as Biden claimed. The top 400 wealthiest American taxpayers actually pay an average federal income tax rate of about 23%. Now, that was according to the IRS in 2014. In comparison, the average income tax rate for all taxpayers in 2020 was 13.6. So where does the 8.2 number come from? Look, I'm just saying. Statistically, the wealthiest people in America are paying upwards around 40% of the federal income taxes in the nation. So I don't buy the whole they're not paying their fair share, because I think they're paying a lot more than what they actually should be, in my opinion. Look, if I think that you've got wealth, good on you. I think there should be a flat tax rate across the board. That would solve everything. Do a flat tax rate across the board. Let everybody pay the same. If it was, I don't want where our taxpayers are going right now, I wish I didn't have to pay them. I really don't. It's where our tax dollars are going right now is ridiculous. It's not going to American citizens. It's going to foreign wars and illegal aliens. So why should I have to pay for that? I do. Every paycheck I get, I got that crap on there. So it's not going to our American citizens, that's for sure. Anyway, speaking of which, we'll go into this one. This is about, he asked about immigration here.
Regarding the rapid increase in the migrant population, how will you ensure that every immigrant is integrated into American society safely? What benefits and subsidies will you provide them with, and how long will these benefits and subsidies last for an individual? Most importantly, will the American citizens' taxes pay for these benefits and subsidies? And if so, how much money will be allocated?
Absolutely.
Well,
it's
thank you,
tax.
Jackson. Let's start with
American
this.
taxpayer dollars that fund it.
America's immigration system is broken, and it
No
needs to be
kidding.
fixed.
So
And it's
fix
been broken
it.
for a long time. And part of what we need to do is always prioritize what we need to do to strengthen our border. I will tell you, I'm the only person in this race among the two choices that voters have. I've personally prosecuted transnational criminal organizations
Oh, this
in
crap
the
again.
trafficking of guns, drugs, and human beings. I have spent a significant part of my career making sure that our border is secure and that we do not allow criminals in, and we don't allow that kind of trafficking to happen and come into
It's
our
been happening for the last 4 years now.
And as my opponent has proven himself, he would prefer to run on the problem instead
Here we
of
go
fix
again.
the problem. You may know.
You want to run on a problem instead of fixing a problem. What did I just say about the wealthiest in our nation paying their fair share in taxes? What did I just say? They've been doing it for decades. You want to talk about running on a problem versus solving a problem? Taxes.
No, there were some of the most conservative members of the United States Congress working with others that came up with a border security bill. That would have put 1,500 more border agents at the border. Those border agents are overwhelmed.
$60.1 billion to Ukraine.
It would have allowed us to have more resources to stem the flow of fentanyl. I don't need to tell this state and people around the country what is happening in terms of the scourge of fentanyl and how it is literally killing Americans. It would have put resources into stemming the.
Okay, that's enough of that. Look, she has the. It's. I know y'all are probably getting tired of this because I know I am. It's the same crap that she spews out of her mouth every time she talks. It's the same talking points. Trump is bad. He'd rather run on a problem than fix a problem. I'm going to make the wealthy pay their fair share. It's the same crap over and over and over and over again. People are getting tired of it. They're not seeing any action. She never actually identifies exactly what she's going to do for that problem. She just goes off on tangents. Now, granted, she hasn't talked about the whole I grew up in a middle-class family for the last couple of interviews that she's done. I think she wanted to a couple times during this, but she didn't. Oh, it's getting ridiculous. Every time she talks, it's not helping her cause. It's not. There's nothing that she's doing at this point that is helping her out. I don't see it, and I don't see how people... How is she even likable? I don't get it. She's infuriating. Anyway, Anderson pushed on a couple things here, and we're going to check that out because I thought it was pretty good. Just to be clear, I don't give a lot of praise to CNN, but I thought this was pretty good.
Just to be clear, though, what he's referring to, and you point out to when you were running for vice president in 2020, you were not talking about banning fracking, but...
No, Anderson, I pledged that I would not ban fracking.
Right, I know. You said you would not ban fracking.
Correct.
You had said in a 2019 town hall, there's no question I'm in favor of banning fracking. In 2017, you talked about Medicare for all. You talked about 2019, you raised a hand in debate about if border crossing should be decriminalized.
Oh, look at her. Look at her. She's mad. That's not what we talked about. You know that's what's going on. You know that this... She is irate because, I personally believe that a lot of the questions that she's been getting have been scripted or at least verified or checked and said, yes, you can ask that question, or no, you can't ask that one, that kind of stuff. I think this was... Look at her face right there. Oh, hold on. I don't even have that up. Hold on a sec. I'm sorry. My fault. I had the sound going, but not the clip on there. But look at that face. She is not happy with him asking this. Look at that face.
Issues, which those are not your positions now, are all those issues that you're saying through consensus and getting stuff done you have evolved on?
Well, no, let's take, for example, the issue of Medicare.
Medicare, that's not what he... She's pulling Medicare out of her hat. There nowhere in his questioning was there anything about Medicare.
My point has always been that access to health care should not just be a privilege of those who can afford it. It should be a right for all people. So that is why I have worked on doing what we have done.
Who's going to pay for that, Kamala?
One, allow Medicare to negotiate against the big pharmaceutical companies to bring down the cost of prescription medication. We've
President Trump did that
in terms of capping the cost of insulin for seniors at $35
That was President
a
Trump.
month.
Look, they tout that out all the time. Our administration capped insulin at $35. No, you didn't. You took it away and then brought it back and claimed it as yours. Donald Trump did it when he was in the presidency.
Capping the cost of annual prescriptions at $2,000 a year for seniors. But my plan moving forward, based on that very principle that I've always had, is as president to have that cap be for everyone and not just for our seniors. The work that I have done that has been about recognizing the importance of dealing with border security, that has never changed. As I said, I have prosecuted transnational criminal organizations.
She stood up. Look, during her presidential run, before she was thrust into the vice presidency as a DEI hire, you can say she wasn't all you want. President Biden said as much, okay? She was a DEI hire. Before that, on a debate stage, they asked, would anybody raise their hand if you would it not make it illegal for, make it not a legal action to cross the border. She raised her hand. That is the very definition of your policy changing.
That I did for years before I ever ran in 2019.
I mean, you did raise your hand saying in a debate when asked if border crossing should be decriminalized, but obviously that is not your position.
I never intended, nor will I ever allow America to have a border that is not secure. I believe we need to deal with illegal immigration. There needs to be consequences.
Then
which is
do it!
Part of my plan that I have outlined. And again, please go to KamalaHarris.com. Sorry to throw a website on you, but why not?
Yes, why not? Why? How about why not fix the border that you were put in charge of? Put in charge of the immigration in the U.S. Your baby. President Biden said there's no one better qualified for this undertaking. Paraphrasing. But that was your baby, Kamala. And now they want to tote, oh, well, it's the border crossings now are down below to what they were when President Trump was in office. Okay. What about in between that? What about in between when President Trump was in office and now? How about in between then? How many? How many come into this country? What was the number, like close to 10 million that we know of? President Trump likes to tout probably closer to 20, which is probably right. Because you only know about half of what actually came in. This was a joke. This whole town hall was a joke.
And you will see that part of my plan includes what we need to do to actually do more as it relates to putting resources in, including increasing penalties for illegal crossing.
And just finally on fracking, you said you're clear you would not ban it as president.
No, I would not ban it as president.
Right, I know you're clear on that. Do you think it is bad for the environment, though?
I think that we have proven that we can invest in a clean energy economy. We can mitigate greenhouse gas emissions. We can work on and sustaining what we need to do to protect this beautiful earth of ours and not ban fracking.
Time is short, so I want to get some more voters in. Tanisha Spall from
Okay,
Lansing.
look. I know she came out. She went out to Texas. Okay. I'm going to take a look at that and probably get a quick video up on that. I know she came to Texas. Why? I don't know. She's avoiding the swing states. And I seen today that in Arizona, just in the early voting, that President Trump is up, it was like 25,000 votes, if I'm not mistaken. Don't quote me on that. But I was listening to the radio on the way home, and I'm pretty sure it said early voting in Arizona, Trump is up 25,000. That's just in the early voting. And a majority of Trump voters, they go the day of. If he's up 25,000 in early voting, oh. Now, granted, that's just Arizona. But I'm telling you, I really think she is just bombing everything. Every interview. She's going on this, and the internal polling has to be bad. Because she is doing just kind of this crazy media blitz. Every chance she gets, she's doing a town hall. She's talking to reporters. She's doing this and that. He's still holding rallies. But he's not doing much anything else. I think their internal polling, Trump is pretty comfortable, and I think Kamala is scrambling because I think their internal polling is bad for her and it's good for Trump. That's what I think, because if it was the other way around, Trump would be doing a media blitz, and he's not. J.D. Vance is still out there doing his thing. President Trump's still doing his thing. They're holding rallies, but President Trump, he's out there having fun. He's serving McDonald's fries to people. He's having, he had a town hall that ended up being like a little dance party. I mean, hey, he's out there having a good time trying to enjoy himself. I think that's because his internal polling has him up by a lot. Doesn't mean to get complacent. Everybody needs to get out there and everybody needs to vote and do your part. Just because we have the momentum doesn't mean we should let up. Go out there, get everybody out there, and it needs to be just a straight landslide victory for President Trump. These people they shouldn't be in office anymore. Look at what they've done. So, anyway. Oh, goodness gracious me. All right, so That's all I got. Hey, if you had a good time, you like what you saw, hey, hit that subscribe, follow, whatever you got to do. Appreciate you hanging out with me, and I'll see y'all next time.